Good morning. I'm Karen Hamstra. It's Monday, June 29th, and welcome to my final Title Talk. However, don't despair, Title Talk will continue. Watch our Facebook page for details. I have 7 books, I believe it is, to tell you about today. The first one is called The Other Family by Loretta Nyhan. This is about a woman whose marriage is dissolving, and she has a daughter who has a horrible illness that might be genetic. The problem is that Allie, the name of the main character, she is adopted, and so she does a DNA test with hopes of maybe getting some answers. And what she finds out is an aunt that she never knew existed. She's a little wild, but she's very welcoming and ready to share more of the family history than Allie ever imagined. I thought, in this day with DNA testing being so much in the news and so many of us have taken one or more of these tests, this novel really addresses current issues and might be a fun read for people who have an interest in such things. Next, we have The Last Bathing Beauty by Amy Sue Nathan. And as you might guess from the bathing suit on the cover, this is kind of a historical book. It takes place in the summer of 1951, and it's set in Michigan. This book and our next book are both set in Michigan, this one at South Haven, Michigan. It's about a woman named Betty Stern who works for her grandparents' resort that summer. It's known as the Catskills of the Midwest. And then she falls in love, of course, and she's planning out her entire life because she's 18 years old and a real knockout. Then it jumps to the future, where decades forward, where Betty, who's now known as Boop, get it, Betty Boop, she has a granddaughter who comes to her wanting advice about similar dilemmas that Betty faced back in that long ago summer in South Haven. If you like to go to South Haven, I know a lot of people do, you might enjoy reading The Last Beauty by Amy Sue Nathan. Our second Michigan book is The Bitter and Sweet in Cherry Season by Molly Fodder, pardon me, Molly. This is about a woman named Hope, and she has just inherited, I believe, Orchard House. Well, she goes there to live with her aunt, and she takes her 10-year-old daughter with her, and she's trying to escape. And when she gets there, she has a terrible secret. And her Aunt Peg has lived in Orchard House all her life, but the property has seen better days. It's not exactly where Hope wants to be, but she's out of options. And as she works the cherry orchard alongside her aunt, daughter, and a kind of man she finds increasingly difficult to ignore, a new life begins to blossom. But the mistakes of the past are never far behind, and soon the women will find themselves fighting harder than ever for their family roots and for each other. So, another family kind of saga, but one with local ties. A Registry of My Passage Upon the Earth by Daniel Mason. This is a book of short stories. We don't order too many books of short stories, but this book received such incredible reviews that we could not pass it up. Daniel Mason is the man who wrote The Piano Tuner, which was a huge hit. And everybody just says these are the most incredible stories. So if you have like a short attention span, but you'd like a good read, this might be the perfect book for you. Abraham Verghese, who wrote Cutting for Stone, says, I have been a Daniel Mason fan since The Piano Tuner. His abilities as a storyteller and a writer of the most gorgeous prose leave you wanting more. And then author Jill McCorkle said, a masterful storyteller, A Registry of My Passage Upon the Earth is a marvel and a journey not to be missed. So please, somebody, check out Daniel Mason's new book of short stories. Miss Cicely's Recipes for Exceptional Ladies by Vicki Zimmerman. I've read a few excerpts out of this book, and it's very well written, and I think it would be a fun read. It has 2 main characters, Kate Parker and Cecily Finn. Kate's life falls apart when she's 40 years old and she ends up volunteering at Lauderdale House for Exceptional Ladies, where she meets 98-year-old Cecily Finn, or 97-year-old, I'm sorry. Um, she has, Cecily does, a very sharp tongue, and she's pretty much fed up with everything, and she has no patience at all for the choices that Kate has made in her life. But nonetheless, Cecily prescribes her a self-help book with a difference, Thought for Food. It's a charming 1950s cookbook high on enthusiasm, featuring menus for anything life can throw at the easily dismayed. So they strike up this unlikely friendship between two lonely and stubborn souls, and they discover one big life lesson: never be ashamed to ask for more. And I think the color of the cover kind of inspires that, refers to that theme. Take your lemons and make lemonade. Next, we have The Full Scoop by Jill Orr. This is a bit of a mystery about a young reporter named Riley Ellison, and she becomes obsessed with uncovering the deadly secret that led to her grandfather's murder several years before in a small town called Tuttle Corner, Virginia. And just as she discovers the truth about the murder, she's forced to choose between exacting justice and protecting the people she loves. And finally, we have The Library of Lost and Found by Phaedra Patrick. And this is a novel by the author of The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat, which was a mega hit. And if you enjoyed that, this is about a librarian named Martha Storm, and she discovers a book of fairy tales on her front doorstep, and they begin to reveal secrets about her best friend who passed away a number of years ago. If you like libraries and books and just enjoy kind of magical writing, you will enjoy Phaedra Patrick's new book, The Library of Lost and Found. So thank you for tuning in today. If I don't see you on the airwaves, I will see you around in other sources. It has been my great pleasure to bring you Title Talk for the past several years. And I hope you will continue tuning in to the program as it evolves, but still brings you news on great things to read. Farewell.